Alright, today we're having a look at Far From Home, Chapter 1, Nature's Madness by SushiBoy305. Alright, so here we are in Far From Home, Chapter 1, and already I'm liking the look of it. It is an adventure level. I'm gonna have to count up. I didn't have a, well, I did have a chance, but I didn't do. Count up the actual number of levels that are in this adventure. How do I get... Oh, I bet we've got a... Hold on a second. That's weird. It looks like we should have a blink. Oh, okay. We gotta go this way. Never mind. R1 for this. I didn't count up the number of levels, but I'll do that before the takeaway. Started with a short little cinematic, which was cool, and I appreciated it. Oh, fudge. I wonder if there's something... Ooh. Oh, come on! Risco, that was me? Rare for them to use... Rare to see a creator use a limited life checkpoint. It's kind of impressive. It's, you know, it's a bit of a gamble when you don't use infinite life checkpoints. Whether or not you trust the players to actually keep going with it. Oh, we're in a little cutscene. What's your name? My name is Risco. What is your name? Well, thank you for using Sack Thing instead of Sack Boy. I appreciate that. Hello, Vita. We don't have, like, all the time in the world, though. Vita, I hate to say it, we've only got a minute, 28 seconds left. So, could you... See, this is the thing. I love these little cutscenes when I'm not recording, because they can be neat, give you a little sense of story. But when I am recording, and it's like, I've only got so much time. No, it's just a giant cutscene. Oh gosh, Sushi Boy, I'm so sorry. This is probably going to be a big chunk of what we're doing. I do, however, I do appreciate the animation work that's gone into this. I know that it can be, even in LBP 3, it can be a little bit of a pain to get characters animated the way that we want them to be. Are we done? What happened? Should I count this as, like, the level is done? Because it's an adventure and it's a little bit... So is the entire adventure Chapter 1? Is that what that's intended to mean? I'm not sure how to look at this. I mean, we'll talk about the entire adventure in the takeaway, but, like, to focus on a single level is going to be a little bit tough for us, and the bell's going to ring in just 12 seconds. So I'm going to take us back to the hub, but I've liked what I've seen so far. I think it's pretty neat, but we'll talk about it back at the hub, and we'll see you there. See yas! Alright, and we're back, and Far From Home, Chapter 1, Nature's by SushiBoy305, and I'd say it's a pretty solid yellow square. It's got some issues to it, but I did find myself enjoying it a fair amount by the end. Now, this was recommended to me by a user on the subreddit named Inveni, and I want to shout out a thanks to them up front for putting it my way. I don't generally look at adventures because oftentimes they can be quite a lot of time to play through well, and also just like a lot of effort to put into an episode format like this. But I did find Far From Home Chapter 1 to be relatively compact as compared to other things that I've played, even doing the branched path, and I'd say probably you're looking at maybe around 45 minutes maximum, but probably closer to like 25 or 30 minutes, especially if you only do the kind of primary path through it. There really aren't that many levels in it. Now, the story as it goes, you've kind of been sucked into this dimension by the spiral stone that spits you out in a tree. You meet main side character, oh god, Vita? Yes, okay, Vita. And later on, her best friend Vince, and you kind of go through this world, and you're trying to find the spiral stone. We don't do it in this chapter. I'm gonna guess that's coming up further along. You also get pulled into kind of a side dimension, like a prison dimension, where you talk with a character named Surreal, who is a trapped queen-ish, monarch character, and she'll give you some side quests that you can use to go onto the branching path. The main path, stemming off of what we saw, you've got Mysterious Observer, which was the level that we played in the first impression section. That leads to Floral Trains, which I found to be an interesting level with some good ideas, but maybe not particularly good scaffolding. In Floral Trains, you're introduced, one, to the new power-up, which is similar to the Blink Ball. It's like a boomerang-style projectile that you can also use L1 to trigger a teleport flash when you've got the projectile in front of a glowing screen. You're also introduced in a gameplay mechanic just for this level where you're kind of jumping on these moving trains as you're going through the level. And I found that there really wasn't a lot of scaffolding for using the power-up, although, most power-ups you do kind of get used to them relatively quickly. And I found jumping on those trains, because every time you missed, it is a guaranteed death. It's a lot of, if you screw this up, you die, and you lose a bunch of progress. So I did struggle some with Floral Trains, although I liked the ideas of the level. I just kind of wish that they were introduced a little bit more smoothly to the player. From Floral Trains, you go to Canopy Swamp. Canopy Swamp is a semi-hub, semi-gameplay section. You'll run into an insectologist, I know that's not the right word for it, who will give you a side quest. You also run into a shop area that you can open up on the map, where you can buy your usual stickers and music. In fact, the music here I bought in the shop there, and other kind of neat stuff. There's also a little bit of gameplay section, and that'll take you into, finally, the third and final gameplay part of this branch, which is a boss fight with the character called the Trevant. I really liked the Trevant boss fight. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a nice design visually. It was a pretty chill boss as far as these things go. You're just kind of teleporting out of danger to the right, and then you kind of run back over and you shoot on a branch, well, actually a root with your projectile, and then kind of rinse and repeat that back and forth. It's not really a fairly stressful boss, but I did find it to be an enjoyable one. And that'll take you into the wrap-up cutscenes and the credits. Now, once you get those wrap-up cutscenes, you'll be tasked with going back to Floral Trains and finding a hidden door, which will take you onto the secondary path, which is Temple Tremble, Rubble Town, and King's Gambit. And honestly, I thought the secondary path was the stronger of the bunch, both in gameplay and in presentation. I found the primary path, the presentation of it was periodically really nice, but a lot of times I found the cameras to be a little bit too pulled back. There was a little bit too much of just like swaths of undifferentiated material that just didn't really have a good look to it. Whereas in the secondary path, and I really liked what was done with layers, I thought the cameras were well handled with a nice depth of field effect, and using the decorations to make it look like there was kind of a city in the background of that section, and the lighting as well. All of that came together on the secondary path to make for a very nice visual presentation environment. So that was really cool. Gameplay as well I thought was kind of neat, where you encounter these golems and they'll throw you up in the air. It's kind of the new gameplay mechanic for that section. There's a little bit more usage of the power-up in the secondary path, which I appreciated. The downside I found with the secondary path was the boss fight, where the Trevant boss fight was chill and fun and cool, and I had a good time with it. The King Igneous boss fight was definitely not. There's a couple of different attacks that the boss does, and the primary one, the boss will jump back into the background and drop like lava rocks, bracketing closer, ever closer, kind of hemming you into the center of the screen. The problem is that those lava rocks, they break, and the final bracketing pair, they break and actually put flaming material everywhere that you can possibly stand. And that's kind of a problem because it's a guaranteed death in that section, and I found it easier to just die and stay in the respawn point than it was to actually try to figure out a way around that. A secondary issue with the fight, the other attack, is that the king will, once you've done enough damage, will start to jump off to the right side of the screen and summon an enemy to attack you. And the enemies I found in the adventure overall were a bit of a problem because the power-up doesn't really have a nice consistent rate of fire, where you kind of have to wait until the boomerang actually comes back to the power-up or hits something to trigger another shot with it. And trying to kill off enemies quickly before they engaged you could be a little bit difficult, but particularly in this King Igneous boss fight, because you're juggling the enemy but also trying to deal with those falling lava rocks at the same time. It's not an impossible fight, it's certainly not an undoable fight, but I feel like the deaths in that fight were a lot more unfair than I found them to be in the Trevant fight. So there was that as a bit of a downside. A bit of a weird side that I found, something I kind of liked but it was inconsistent, was the referral of the character within the level. Most of the other characters refer to you as Sackthing, which I really appreciated because it's a gender neutral term, and being a lady myself, and also there are other girls and women who play Little Big Planet and non-binary folks who play Little Big Planet, so to not have the Sack boy forced onto the character I thought was really cool, except that it wasn't really consistent. The character Surreal consistently refers to you as Sackboy. Also, Golem number 1, after beating King Igneous, refers to you as boy and with male pronouns. So that was kind of weird, and it just felt like, why not just do it all or nothing? If you're insistent on doing it as Sackboy, you're the creator, you go ahead. It doesn't make me super happy, but that's your thing to do. If you're gonna do it as Sackthing, that's super cool and I really, really appreciate it, but do that. But to kind of mix them both, and I wasn't sure at first if that was supposed to be significant or not, if that was supposed to be saying things about the characters who are speaking or about the character that we are in this level. It's a little point, but it did stand out to me. All in all and overall, I had a really good time with this level. I thought it was fun. I thought it was chill. It was very manageable as far as time. Like I said, I did appreciate the secondary path a lot more than I appreciated the primary path. But even the primary path has its positive points and its enjoyment to be had there. So I do recommend giving this one a look. I think that you'll probably have a good time with it, and if you feel like it's a bit of a time investment, that you can always just bop out and go back in. It is an adventure. One neat thing about the adventure that I thought I'd point out, as you clear certain things, when you go to the shop level, Mr. Spiv's tent, it will actually kind of give you reminders about what you've done and what you haven't done yet. So kind of as a heads up. Oh, you did this part, that's really great. Now, why don't you go over here and see if you can find this other thing? I thought that was really neat, and I look forward to seeing how all this comes together in Chapter 2, but I think that pretty much does it for us here this go about, so I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you very much, Sackboy305, for putting together such a nice adventure, and thank you very much, Inveni, for suggesting this to me. Anybody who wants to have me take a look at something, by all means, give me a suggestion. I'll absolutely give it a look if I can. But that does it for us here this go about. So from me, Isco, here in Tokyo, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, arigato, sayonara, see you, and ciao.